Information provided is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute investment, tax, or legal advice. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but its accuracy and completeness are not guaranteed. Neither LPL Financial nor the hosts of this show or accept any liability for the use of the information discussed. Consult with a qualified financial, legal, or tax professional prior to taking any action. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Ostro Financial Consultants, a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial. Today's guest, Rick Fisher, is a financial advisor with Ostro Financial Consultants, National Planning member SIPC.
Good morning, and welcome to Beyond Investments here on News Talk KNCO, AM 830. Seth Leishman and Rick Fisher from Ostro Financial here.
Morning, folks.
We are excited for this week's show. So we're going to have an interesting topic today that I think applies to...
Especially here in Nevada County.
Since
we have a more mature population. Maybe we put it that way.
I'd
rather someone call me mature than aging.
Or elderly.
Ooh,
I don't like that one.
No.
That's not a good one.
No, that's not a good one.
I'm not a fan of that one.
Do not say the O word.
Yes, no.
But yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about Medicare. Which is, a lot of people are on Medicare, and we'll talk about what it takes and how it's paid for and its status.
That's right. Absolutely.
But before we do all that, we should talk about our weekends and what's going on here in Nevada County. I mean,
there's a lot going on.
Well, first of all, we've gone for that. We've had the last day of summer. So summer's officially over. And we're in what I call schizophrenic weather.
Yes.
So you wake up in the morning. It still may be a little dark.
Yep.
It's chilly.
Yes.
So you're planning on getting dressed and say, okay, I'm gonna layer.
Right.
Okay. Then by the time lunchtime, you're shedding clothes because it's 70s, 80s now.
That's right.
So it's very frustrating.
It is.
Well, summer was easy. I could come in, short sleeve shirt, long got a collar, chino pants, we're good.
Yeah. Start the day short sleeve.
Yeah. See, I've already rolled. I put a t-shirt on.
Yes.
And a sweater.
Yeah.
And I'm already pulling up my sleeves and threatening to take off my sweater. I do have, it's like a green camo undershirt. So
there you go.
Clients are not in the office. I might go there.
But no one could see you anyways.
This is true.
You're camouflaged.
I am camouflaged, yes. I've got my Christmas colors on.
Yes, there you go.
I'm thinking Christmas is only not too far away.
According to Costco, Costco had Christmas stuff out a month ago.
That's not right.
It was still August I walked in. And
don't tell me that.
What?
Don't tell me that.
What is all this? There's all the yard decorations were out already, and I'm going, I wasn't ready for this yet.
Yeah,
I love Christmas. I love Christmas.
It's my favorite holiday.
Love it.
And this year we're having all the kids are coming home, so we're going to have everyone for Christmas this year.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it gets bigger and bigger all the time.
Yes, of course, definitely. Yes. Good for you and Eva. That's
so,
fantastic. Yes.
What did you do this last weekend?
This last weekend had a wonderful shopping experience with one of my kids. Went out.
Shopping experience.
Yes, went Halloween costume shopping.
Now that's more timely. That makes sense.
Yes.
But even then, you're ahead of the game. You're a planner.
That's right. Yes.
We used to wait last week.
No, she and her bestie wanted to have matching, kind of like a matching costume thing. So so we went out together to go find that matching costume setup. And
Nevada counties can be very funky as far as there are trick or treat neighborhoods and there are. There's only a few.
There is.
Where you live, are you in a trick-or-treat neighborhood, or are you going to have to, have to bus them somewhere?
We got to go to Uncle Nathan and Aunt Stephanie's neighborhood.
Okay.
They're over in Cypress Hill.
Okay.
And we post up there, and then kids can go out and hit that neighborhood pretty hard because the houses are close enough together. So, yeah, we usually go to Cypress Hill because we got easy parking because with Uncle Nathan living there, with my brother living there, we can actually park. Because it does end up being like a giant madhouse of human bodies everywhere.
Yeah, we always had to bus our kids to somebody's neighborhood.
Yeah, Morgan Ranch.
Yeah, we did Morgan Ranch.
I picture someday that Loma Rica development someday being a trick or treat destination for Nevada County. I wouldn't be surprised. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Someday
when they finish it,
if they ever, before they ever start it.
I know. I don't see very many. Not a lot of activity right now.
No,
but they've gone too far to just stop.
Absolutely.
So I don't know.
Way too much money into that thing.
Anyways. I see it every day.
Yes. No, you wonder. I mean, interest rates up at 7% for a mortgage. You know, it's one of those things that housing developments are going to have a rougher time.
Yeah, it's going to be
tough. They really
tough.
are. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Then you've got all the California mandates for real estate where, you know, every new build is going to have full solar system and full interior sprinkler systems, and all these things just add to the purchase price.
I've also heard that they're talking about making mandatory the roof sprinklers, if that's not already.
Wouldn't be surprised if that's coming. I mean, I've already had too many firefighters have said, and inspectors too have even said, like, if you get a fire coming through there, the problem with that is that there isn't a very effective way to run those water lines that don't end up actually having the water boil and turn to steam in the pipes. When a fire's coming through.
Wow, I had never heard of anything like that.
Those pipes get so hot, it doesn't even spray anymore. It's boiling and turning to steam in the pipe, and you end up actually having those pipes burst.
Okay.
So this isn't going to be effective. Why do we have exterior sprinkler systems when the line just bursts? Because it's turning into steam.
Lobbyists.
Inside. Exactly.
Anyway, so this weekend, I should have asked you to come down and bring them, because we had our Mustangs at the local car show.
Right, we did.
And I'm a member of the Sacramento Mustang Club.
Yep.
And they're pretty much all their stuff is in Sacramento.
Yes.
So their big annual fundraiser is at the Marriott in Rancho Cordova. And it's really just for Mustangs and Fords.
Right.
Okay.
Perfect.
And mostly with Mustangs. Had to get up they needed help setting up, and they start setting up for it at 6 a.m.
Oh,
so
that's early.
I had to get up at 4 in order to get down there. Yes. Now I didn't stay for cleanup. I figured, okay, I went above and beyond, and
yes.
But there were a lot of sweet. My car was no longer special. It was special here at the car show because it was probably the only GT500.
That's right.
There was like 6 GT500s. 2 of them were carbon track packs. One had been Shelbyized, so it got sent. So not only did they pay all that money for it, then they sent it over to Shelby and dropped another $50,000 into it.
All the extra stuff.
And then there was custom cars. There was a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah.
The one sad thing is, so they had this loudest exhaust contest.
Okay.
Which I thought about, okay, well, mine's got a loud exhaust, but then when they had this 1956 Ford Gasser, and the Gasser is a rail drag, not a rail dragster, but like an early funny car.
Yeah.
And this had a Hemi motor with straight pipe. So I said, now, if he's in the contest, I'm not
even worth it.
When there was a rat rod that had straight pipes.
Okay.
So no mufflers. That's what straight pipes mean, folks. There was 2 or 3 of those. And then there was like 3 or 4 Mustangs that were kind of stealthy. You wouldn't think that they had really loud exhaust, but they did. Unfortunately, this one guy had like a 2019 GT, totally modified, silver with Kona blue stripes. And, our guy would come up with his little decibel recorder.
Decibel meter,
He'd fire up the car, and usually most of the guys would wait a minute or two to get the car to run, get the oil.
Get things warmed up a little bit.
He turned it on and just lit into it 2 or 3 times, and all of a sudden you hear a pop, and then you see gray smoke coming out the back. And you're and it wasn't the tire spinning.
No.
And I just go, oh man, he broke it.
He just blew an engine.
Oh, and I felt so bad for him.
Oh,
he should have known better, though.
Yes, it's just stand.
Anyway,
on the
so
gas.
Other than that, it was a great show.
Good.
And it was nice because it was at the Marriott. So when you had to go use the facilities, you had nice facilities.
Yeah,
there's no porta potties.
They've got everything set up for you.
And then a nice little restaurant, so I had breakfast.
Very good. Yeah.
One thing I did not do is I forgot, which I didn't forget last time, is I didn't bring a chair. So I was sitting on a curb.
That's a failure.
Or I was walking around, but I got 12,000 steps in because I had to walk a lot.
Way to see the silver lining.
Yeah, exactly.
The silver, absolutely.
So that was a lot of fun. And next year you'll have to join me.
I would love to.
You're going to be in a different area because they segregate it by years.
Oh, okay.
But the biggest, I guess, the largest group of cars were 65 to 70.
Oh, okay. That fits mine. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
awesome.
So that was it. Should we start with trivia?
Let's jump into some trivia.
And we'll start with financial trivia.
Yes.
Because this is a financial show.
Correct.
So this is really kind of the week of September 28th.
Yes.
Okay. 1985, Philip Morris Company agrees to buy General Foods Corp. for $120 a share or $5.75 billion, the largest takeover yet on record outside the oil industry. Oh. Many Philip Morris shareholders are angry that the tobacco company is diversifying into a slow-growing business like processed food.
Interesting.
It's funny when it comes to Philip Morris, it's one of the biggest, it's a stable company and it pays a really, really high dividend and that's been its appeal. But my mom died of esophageal cancer and she was a smoker, so I will not own Philip Morris directly. I can't. Correct. I'm sure I have mutual funds that have it. There's nothing I can do about it.
Can't affect the S&P 500 or whatever.
You figure between tobacco and processed foods, it's basically the ones that kills us.
Yes.
This company, when you have their products, basically it's bad for you.
Basically, all across. It's bad for you.
That's what they processed food. That's the key.
Because processed.
Yes. 1974, the field of, and this is all from.
Jason's Wig.
Jason's Wig.
Very nice.
Anyways, 1974, the field of behavioral finance is born as science. The Journal of American Association for the Advancement of Science publishes, quote, Judgment Under Uncertainty, Heuristics and Biases. This is the underwhelmingly titled but overwhelmingly brilliant article by Hebrew University psychology professor Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman, is the first major research paper to demonstrate that humans do not always make risky decisions rationally, a contention that incredibly is still disputed by mainstream economists.
Interesting.
No, they don't always do risky decisions rationally.
That's
because there's emotions involved. We tell it's
constantly.
Yeah. We all struggle with it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the biggest struggles when it comes to any type of investing is keeping emotion out of it.
Yep. Because as they say, when Nordstrom's have a sale, do you stay away?
Right.
Right now, folks, the market is having a little bit of a sale.
Yeah. Well, you think about emotion. We brought it up with Philip Morris. There's emotion involved. You know, you lost your mother to esophageal cancer from smoking, and then we've got Philip Morris. And it might be from an investment perspective, pays a dividend, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
But the emotion of I don't want to own that stock.
Exactly. 1820, so we're going back a ways.
Oh, we're going back a ways.
A train carries passengers for the first time as George Stephenson, the self-taught engineer of coal miners in Newcastle, England, demonstrates his new steam-propelled locomotive on rails. The Rocket, as it's called. The train hauls a huge cargo load from Woolston to Stockton, a total of just under 21 miles in 4 hours and 12 minutes. A blistering pace of 5 miles an hour. The crowd of onlookers and the 600 passengers who have clamored aboard the train are astounded.
Hey, that's not bad. 600 people on the top of that.
Yeah,
thing?
5 miles an hour.
5 miles an hour.
And they're astounded in 1820.
Yeah.
But again, it's self-propelled, so that's no horses.
No horses. That was a huge deal.
Steam.
And steam powered. There you go.
Anyways, moving on to sports. This day in sports. This is only for people who really follow baseball.
Yes.
1914, Cleveland's second baseman Nat Lajoie, or Lajoie, depending on how you pronounce it, collects his 3,000th hit.
Oh, wow.
He's one of the greatest second basemen of all time.
Yeah.
1931, closest National League batting title ends with St. Louis Cardinals Chick Hafey's 348.89 versus New York Giants Bill Terry 348.61.
Wow.
So they had to carry it out to 4 decimal points to
find the winner.
All right. For the local fans, 1957, American Major League Baseball San Francisco Giants rent the Pacific Coast League San Francisco Seal Stadium until Candlestick Park is built in 1960.
Ah, there you go.
1961, Sandy Koufax sets the National League strikeout season record at 269. He will break that 2 more times, and then Nolan Ryan will break his record. So, 1968, Cardinals super pitcher Bob Gibson.
Yes.
How many shutouts do you think he had in 1968?
Was that his
Yeah, that was his
1.12
ERA.
Yes, like a 1.12. I mean, how many shutouts did he have?
How many shutouts?
6.
13.
13. Holy cow.
And 1973, Nolan Ryan strikes out 16 batters in 11 innings for the record, which still stands, of 383 strikeouts.
That's right. Yep, still stands.
Moving on to this day in music, 1986, the Beatles' track "Twist and Shout" re-entered the U.S. singles chart over 25 years after it first appeared. After the song was featured in what film?
I don't know.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Ah, there you go. Okay.
1980, David Bowie scored the 4th UK #1 album with his 14th studio album, Scary Monsters. The album's lead single, Ashes to Ashes, revisited the character of Major Tom in Space Oddity. Moving on, 1964, the Beach Boys made their television debut on the Ed Sullivan Show, and they performed the songs, U.S. singles, I Get Around and Wendy, two of the more famous songs.
Yep.
Now normal history, just everyday history. 1540.
Oh, goodness.
The Society of Jesus, or the Jesuits order, was founded by St. Ignatius of Loyola and made official by Pope Urban III.
Oh, there you go.
So
1500s.
1540. So even before the Reformation.
Yes.
The Jesuits have been around longer than the Reformation.
It's a long time.
1066, the Norman Conquest begins in England.
Oh.
As William the Conqueror comes over from Normandy. And
that's right.
That's the last time that England was successfully invaded.
Yes.
1590. 12 days after being elected Pope, Urban VII dies, making his papacy the shortest in history.
Wow.
Just 12 days.
12 days.
That's it. That's it for trivia today.
Well, when we come back from break, we're going to talk about Medicare. It's a topic that is very important because it comes into play when it comes to finances. For in particular, for obviously those over 65 and older, it's a major part of financial planning and life in general. Post age 65. So when we get back, we're going to talk all things Medicare. You're listening to Beyond Investments right here on News Talk AM 830. Well, welcome back to Beyond Investments here on News Talk KNCO AM 830. Rick, let's talk Medicare.
Okay. Medicare.
Medicare. Signed into law in 1965 by LBJ.
Yep.
Right? So definitely, obviously, came way after Social Security.
Oh, what, 30 years?
30 years or so after Social Security. It's been there for 50 years. And
almost 60
really.
years.
Yeah.
And again, it is the largest public health program in the United States.
Yes, it is. Yes.
And again, it covers, for those, most people who know that you apply for Medicare when you turn 65, or sometimes there are federal disability.
Yes.
Would be paid through that as well.
It is. Correct. Yes, definitely.
So 65 and older, they said that the national health care spending accounts for 11% of the federal budget.
Yes. The Medicare Medicaid component this already so far this year is $1.6 trillion.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
And obviously with baby boomers retiring, there's going to be more and more people. I mean, I'm 4 years away.
Yes. It just grows. The number of enrollees, right? We'll call it, right? So when you're spending $1.6 trillion on it, now when you think about the federal revenue and you disregard the fact that we massively deficit spend.
Right.
If we look at just the actual revenue coming in, not instead of saying, well, how much is a percentage of the total spending?
Right.
When a huge portion of that spending is debt. You've got $1.6 trillion of Medicare, Medicaid, and the entire U.S. federal tax revenue is $4.3 trillion. So you're talking more like 25%, almost 30% of the actual
again, to this clarify,
revenue.
So there's Medicare, which is for everyone over 65. Medicaid is for those who are usually under 65, but they have financial levels that they can't afford health care. So you can apply for Medicaid, which in California we call Medi-Cal.
Correct. Yes.
So there is a distinction between Medicare and Medi-Cal.
Accurate.
One everyone over 65 and some other disability people get.
Yes.
The others you have to qualify financially for.
Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Medicare has 3 different parts. Or 4 different, is it A, B, and D? I don't know what, is there a C?
You've got A, B, yeah, part, yeah. So you start with A and B. So what's part A?
Part A is, I believe, the hospital coverage.
Yep.
And then part B is physician coverage, your maintenance.
Correct. That's the everyday coverage, right? You go see your primary care physician because I've got, a sniffle, I've got, aches and pains, I've got whatever, right? Yeah. That's your normal, what most people would consider kind of like, medical coverage, right?
Right.
So it's your regular, when you're working, that's your health insurance coverage.
Exactly.
Covers that. Most of that spend is on that. Yes. Agreed.
And then there's part D.
Yes.
I don't know whatever happened to part C, but
yeah.
It's part D. That's your prescription drugs, which is probably the fastest growing of the 3.
For sure.
They were saying that originally part A was where most of the money went, was to hospitals. But now they're pushing over the last few years, well, probably a couple decades now, we see more and more outpatient.
Yes.
So you don't have to go into the hospital.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the cost has been going on that side.
Correct. And when you think about part B, which is also the component, so remember part A, there's no premium.
There's no premium. No, that's paid for. Supposedly that you've been paying it. So let's talk about that. So
yes,
as a worker,
yes,
how is Medicare funded?
So Medicare currently is funded with a payroll tax. So those earning, self-employed also pay it, but so it's everybody, anybody working, actively working, pays a total of 2.9% of your income. And without a cap.
Okay.
So the 2.9% Medicare tax is unlike Social Security, which has a cap.
Right.
You're going to pay 2.9% on all of your wages or earnings. However, if you're not self-employed, half of that, which is 1.45%, is paid by your employer. You pay 1.45. You're the other half. Similar to Social Security tax. Whereas if you are a W-2 employee somewhere, your employer pays half of the Social Security tax and you pay the other half. So it's shared between employer and employee. Medicare tax works the same way. So but it's a much lower amount, right? Social Security tax is 12.4%.
Right.
Medicare is 2.9% without any cap though, on that. And that is how Medicare is currently funded. We will see how long that lasts.
Well, I've heard that they're concerned that it could run out of money in 2031, which is only 8 years away.
Medicare is massively underfunded, massively. I mean, the revenue that comes in from that 2.9% Medicare tax doesn't even come close to covering the costs. Not even remotely close.
Clayton Kershaw's share would be like $300,000 a year.
Yeah, not even close still. Wow. Not even remotely close. Yeah, it's a massive net negative.
Well, I mean, at the downside, they were saying that even though we may have the best healthcare in the world overall,
yeah,
we also have the most expensive healthcare in the world.
We do. I would agree with that. Yes.
And I know most people that do go on Medicare, if they can afford it, they usually find the supplement because Medicare doesn't cover everything. And there's probably a lot of things that you'd be surprised it doesn't cover.
Absolutely accurate.
And so you have to get really another health insurance plan.
Yes.
And
to pick up all the extra costs, right? The first and foremost, when you think about Medicare, first threshold to hit is that it only covers 80% of eligible expenses,
right?
Which can get into the weeds of it, but just staying, when we think about the high level, is that Medicare Part B only covers 80% of your medical costs anyways. So unless you want to be self-insured for the other 20% and covered out of pocket, most people get a supplemental policy that covers that other 20%.
Right. And in addition, it might cover some of the things that Medicare doesn't. Here's a list of some of the things that Medicare does not cover.
Yes.
Long-term care.
Big one.
Okay. And we've had that discussion before. Most dental care.
Yep.
Eye exams.
Yep.
Dentures. Cosmetic surgery. Massage therapy. Routine. Well, I guess B would cover routine physical exams.
Yes. So when you think about that, I mean, that extra, not only just those non-covered items plus the 20%, it is very advisable to have a supplemental policy. When you think about Medicare, for a married couple who earns in retirement, so at age 65 and after, earning less than $194,000, your Part B premium is about $165 a month per person. It's actually extremely reasonable.
Compared to what I pay now in health insurance, yeah, that's very reasonable.
And honestly, not even remotely close to covers the actual cost.
No.
Not even remotely close.
Because you're dealing with a population that they're going into the stage of life where they're going to generally have higher and more expensive medical care costs.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not talking about a bunch of healthy 20-year-olds.
No. And then a supplemental policy might be double that, and it's only picking up the other 20%. That tells you how distant the premiums are to what the actual cost is. Because when you get a supplemental policy that covers 20%, it might be $300 a month, but your Medicare premium that covers 80% is only $165. There is a graduated scale based on income, so there is a form of means testing Medicare. So as you earn more and more money, your Medicare Part B premium goes up dramatically. So on the lowest end, it's $165 a month. For those earning the most, you're at $560 a month for the Part B. Okay, and then your supplemental on top of that. So still reasonable, actually. But there is a means testing that's happening. So if you have the income, they do charge you a much higher premium. It's always backwards looking 2 years. Also remember that.
Okay.
So your Medicare premium is not based on this year's earnings. This year's Medicare premium for Part B is based on 2 years ago income. So they're a little delayed in gathering the data from your tax return. They're constantly looking backwards by two whole years. As we wrap up here with our last couple of minutes here, we just want to encourage you, Medicare can be complicated. Medicare supplements can be complicated. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of different types. They came out with that HMO style one called Medicare Advantage. It doesn't fit everybody, but that's why there are so many options.
And that's why there's
customize it.
And there's the insurance agents that deal in that are specialized. Yes. So if you go to your normal property casualty, they're not going to handle this coaches. Yeah. You need to find someone that deals with health insurance programs and Medicare programs. Yeah. And I think there's probably here a couple in
quite a few in town that really specialize in that.
Yeah. And so you want to talk to them. If you're a year or two away, it's probably start
thinking about it, looking at it, dig into what you're going to have, what you might choose. Think about your health situation. What do you need to have covered? There's a lot of customization and personalization when it comes to Medicare, in particular Medicare supplemental policies.
And also to be aware of the next few years as finances get tighter and tighter, there may be changes.
Absolutely.
Even though that they consider this the third rail.
Yep.
We're getting to the point, folks. I mean, when I was, starting out in banking 30 years ago, we were talking about that. And we're saying, well, wait, 2030, that's a long time. Well, it's down the corner now, folks.
Now it's right here.
Yeah. And we still haven't really addressed it. So.
No, it's going to have to get addressed. So, well, we appreciate you listeners out there today listening in right here on KNCO. We are happy to be here and to provide this podcast today and radio show. As always, we want to encourage you. You can go to our website at ostrofinancial.com, click on the news link to download or stream previous shows. And as always, you can give us a call at 273-4425 and come experience the difference when you think beyond investments.
Bye, folks.
Information provided is for illustrated purposes only and does not constitute investment, tax, or legal advice. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but its accuracy and completeness are not guaranteed. Neither LPL Financial nor the hosts of this show or accept any liability for the use of the information discussed. Consult with a qualified financial, legal, or tax professional prior to taking any action. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Ostro Financial Consultants, a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.